we are out of tissues and there's no way I'm getting through this without crying, so. Hey y'all, I am Chelsea, the content creator and designer behind Knitting Tipsy, and it has been a while. For those of you who follow me, you probably already know, and I just want to preface this with, this is going to be a really hard video for me to film. I've been dreading it, but also been excited because I want to get back into making content on YouTube. I find like designer is who I am, and like the work that I like to do, the knitting and crocheting, but the content creation side, especially since I focus a lot on mental health and my own life and my own journey of self-love and all of that, it's kind of therapy and it's very cathartic. So not sharing this and not processing in this very public way. It's public, but it's also, I find it helpful. I find that connections are made. I get messages from people saying, you know, it helps them. And I know watching other videos that are, you know, a little hard and the content's a little deeper, often makes me feel less alone. So I don't want to not do that, even though this is really hard. I hope that was a rambly enough of an introduction, but yeah, I've been dreading making this video, but also just decided, like, you know what, let's sit down, let's do it. It's gonna be hard, but we're gonna do it. So it is my first video back in quite a while. I was doing Vlogmas and had been so excited for Vlogmas, so excited for the Christmas season, especially because we were sharing it with our Rudy, our 14-year-old sweet boy that we have had since he was 1. We have had him since 2011, and we knew it would probably be one of his last Christmases. We just didn't know that he would not be with us for Christmas. So the Christmas season was cut short a little bit for us. Rudy had a few medical emergencies the weekend prior to his death. And on Monday, December 16th, he left us, but it was in the best way we could have had it, I think. He left peacefully here at home, his face in the sunshine, staring out at his lanai and his yard, and that's where I'm actually filming right now. And it was peaceful, it was calm. It's everything we could have hoped, but it was the worst day of my life. And we really, really miss him. And it's been, I think 41 days, and they've been really hard. You know, but like everything, it's a roller coaster. The grief and the joy and the memories sometimes just break your heart in two, and sometimes they make you laugh. And if you hear that beautiful wind chime, that was a gift from my mom. And having it out here on the lanai just always makes me feel like he is with me when I hear it. So he's probably telling me, Mom, get it together. Get it together, lady. You are losing it on camera. It's been really rough. Steve and I started dating in 2009, which means that, you know, we were only together for 2 years before our sweet buddy joined our lives. We had just bought our first house, and we'd only been living together for like 2 months. And we're like, let's get a dog. Well, technically it was, let's start to foster dogs, because I really wanted a dog, and so did Steve, but like Steve's so practical and, you know, has that long-term vision. So we thought we would foster dogs and help out. We really wanted to be a part of the dog fostering community and help rescue dogs. But our very first doggy foster was Rudy. And when they told us about him initially, we were like, oh, I don't know if that's a good fit for us, because our vision was to have like middle-aged dogs. I had a friend growing up who had a Jack Russell, and I loved him, but he was just so hyper all the time. And we were like, oh, maybe for our first foster, like something, you know, But they're like, if you can't take him, we can't bring him. And we were like, oh, no, 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 we'll take him, we'll take him. And so we went to the pickup. All the foster parents were there, you know, to pick up our dogs because they were being rescued from South Carolina. The rescue was Lucky Dog Animal Rescue. And we're all waiting, you know, for our babies, and we're seeing all these, and we're expecting this really hyper 1-year-old puppy to like, and this dapper gentleman who's a little nervous, you could tell he was nervous, and he came up and I just melted. And so did Steve. He was not what we were expecting. And it only took 3 days. I think I even knew sooner than that, but I was taking him on a walk and I burst into tears, and I called my husband at work. Well, he was my boyfriend at the time, and told him, there's no way, this is our dog. And he goes, yeah, I think you're right. So we failed fostered right from the get-go. And we kept telling ourselves, you know, yeah, maybe we'll foster more dogs. But Rudy ended up needing to be an only child. He was super picky about dogs that he liked or didn't, and we knew he had some trauma from his life on the streets. He would really, if he did not like a dog, he went in. It wasn't like I'm using my words to tell you to back off. It was like you get like a half a lip growl, and then he'd go in for the jugular. So it was a little stressful. He came with many kind of stressful quirks. He was scared of a lot of things. He had the loudest shriek. We called it his peacock, and if you've ever heard it on camera, those of you who used to join my Whiskey and Whips lives, it's incredible. There was just no way to, what was that? Oh, that was our dog. And he screamed like that if you got too close to his feet, or if you kind of like moved and he was startled. It was his alarm system. So there were a lot of, he was our special needs baby, and we loved him to the moon and back. And he was the best dog. He really was. I've talked about him lots of times, but he was just so sweet and so cuddly and a good boy. Even when he was bad, he was a good boy. And because we've had him for so long, he's been through so much with us. He was there when we got engaged. He was there when we got married. He was our ring bearer. He was there when we moved to Florida. And then after living in Florida for a while, we wanted to give him a big backyard because he's a sunshine puppy. Laying in the sunshine was his absolute favorite thing. So we bought this beautiful house with a beautiful yard, and Steve worked so hard to make this yard be perfect for him. And he loved it. He laid in all the different places. He explored his jungle garden. So I'm so glad that he had that. But he was also here. I didn't pick up my needles as an adult until 2014 or 2015. And then whenever I decided to make Knitting Tipsy be what it is today, he was there. He's been my buddy. I actually just told my husband today how hard it is starting a new design, because I didn't realize how much I talk to him. Like dog parents, we all talk to our dogs. And then you know what they're saying. But yeah, I'd, even for like, all right, which color do I use? And whichever nose that's a good choice, buddy. And he's always been there for my makes. What better thing is there when you're gonna sit down and yarn than having your fur baby next to you? So getting back into this thing that I love, this yarny life, has been hard without him. But I have so many good memories, and it is still something that I want to do, and something that I love, and something that has been getting me through, even though it's been hard. So yeah, I'm here. I'm sorry if that was rambly. I just wanted to, and I don't know if I did, but I just wanted to do him justice. It's not going to be the same without him. I'm going to miss him so much, but we're going to keep going. We're going to keep going. I know he would want that for me. He loved our yarny time together, so. I will do a video, I think, next week on all of the things that I have been working on. They are all selfish self-care makes since Rudy has passed. But I am actually wearing one of them. This was a really amazing project. I had found that a lot of the projects I had been working on before Rudy passed were hard to continue to work on. Not that I will be putting them away forever. I just think I needed a little break and something to work on that was kind of a fresh project and something meditative and soothing, therapeutic. And that has absolutely been this sweater. Let me pop up a picture. I did my first faux photo shoot in like a month and a half. But this is the monthly sweater by Clarisabeth of Crochet Cakes. I did make a few mods to it from her original version, but I have those listed on my Ravelry page. I don't think I have photos up yet, but I will have photos up by the time y'all can see. So if you want to see the modifications that I made to the sweater, you can go ahead and check it out. And I will talk a lot more about the sweater when I do a Show Us Your Knits video next week. But I did just want to mention it, that I finished it, and thank goodness I have this sweater because it is cold. I have a blanket on my lap. I really wanted to film outside, but it is chilly. It's in the 50s here in Orlando today. Our low last night, I think, was 36. It's quite cold for us. And I'm sorry if you're in the -degree weather up north, but this is cold for us. And the other project I wanted to show, it's just been such a help for my mental health. It is this Hurley Hound pattern by Mama Made Minis. He is a crochet lovey, so his body is not stuffed, it's like blanket, and it's made with blanket yarn, and arms and legs are also flat, but his head is stuffed. And I chose the colors based on my options at Joann's, tried to get as close to Rudy's colors as I could. And inside his head in the stuffing, I placed some crystals for grief and moving through loss. I also placed a small vial with some of Rudy's hair and a letter that I wrote to him. So this has been really nice to have to snuggle, and while it's not finished right now, it will be finished when I show on the Show Us Your Knits video. But there is one more thing that I want to do. We have gotten some photo paper, so that we can print out a picture of Rudy and iron it onto some fabric, and then I'm going to be embroidering that onto his belly. So this project was really nice to make. I really like Mama Made Minis patterns. I do find her plushies to be very cathartic, and they're minimal sewing. That's my favorite part. There's not a ton of sewing in them, most of them, the ones I've done at least, which I really like because I don't enjoy sewing tons and tons of pieces for amigurumi. And it was very easy to follow, and I just thought about my baby pretty much the whole time, watched some Disney movies while I made it, and I am now a 5-year-old child who sleeps with a plushie every night, but it has been very comforting. So if you are looking for a way to honor and keep close your fur baby, I highly recommend maybe making a little plushie to give it some love, because that's been really nice. So yeah, I'm sorry if this is all over the place. I really tried hard a couple times to sit down and plan this out, and I would just burst into tears and my thoughts were all over the place. So I thought, fuck it, let's just go for it and see what happens. So maybe a bad idea, but we're almost done. But I hope that this is the start of me getting back into making some YouTube content. I also plan on having a newsletter out this week. I will pop a link in the description. I send out weekly newsletters, haven't for a while, but we'll be getting back to that. That are just great ways to keep up to date with all the things I'm doing across all my platforms here on YouTube, Instagram. I usually post what we're doing in my Ko-fi. I like to post different whip photos, that maybe I haven't shared to Instagram, let you know what I'm working on. And one of my favorite things that I do, it's just something little and fun, but I always do 3 of my favorite things from the week. So they might be a book that I've read, a TV show, a song, a reel that I found funny, a makeup product that I'm really liking, a cocktail recipe, just really anything that I'm really enjoying from the week. And that's really fun to kind of curate for my email subscribers. So if you want to get on the weekly newsletter list, you can go there. It's also any announcements that are important on any of my platforms and testing calls. And sometimes there are freebies too, I guess. I do give out email freebies quite a bit, so I'll put that there. But yeah, getting back into some content, I am feeling the urge to create again and to share what's going on in my life. I know for some people that might be hard because I will be sharing a lot about my grief, and I don't know how consistent I will be. I'm hoping to be consistent, but bad days, bad weeks will inevitably happen. So just show me some grace, because I'm going to show myself grace, and you deserve grace too when you're in those periods of your life. The final thing I wanted to talk about, because it's what's going to set me forward for the year. I am no longer a believer in the start of the year being like a fresh start, or I've never really liked New Year, New Me, but resolutions, fresh starts, diving into new projects, making January 1st be this big energetic go, go, go thing, all is winter. Nature is sleeping. Nature is resting. Nature is reflecting. Nature is doing all of the nourishing things it needs to rest and be ready for spring. Spring is the start of the year. And so for me, I am very much trying to honor nature cycles and the grief cycle that I am in right now, which requires slowness and pausing and reflection. But the rest of the world is doing differently. And the one thing that I really do like to do at the start of a new year is to just think of my word of the year. I've done this for 3 years now. This is a very common thing. This is not my thing that I've made up, but when I learned about it, creating a word of the year that is just kind of like your theme. It's what your wish for the year in a variety of different ways. And I like words that you can take different meanings from or attribute different aspects of your life to. Last year, my word was alignment, finding the balance, going with the flow. There were some physical goals in there. There were some mental goals in there. And I judged myself a lot. I was like, oh yeah, like I found the balance there. But when I really paused and reflected and looked back, I worked really hard to make sure that my mental health was okay. It was a hard year with Rudy. He was sick a lot. I had a lot of depression. There were a lot of things that could have tipped the scale and made me like crash and burn. And I did have hard times, but I think I did a good job of balancing myself out, of trying to find joy, of making sure that I took care of myself and took things off my plate that weren't going to be helpful for me. So having done a lot of reflection and looked back through journal entries, I think I did it. I think alignment was a good goal for me last year. And so for this year, thinking, what do I need out of 2025? What do I need out of this season now? What are hopes and dreams that I have? The word of the year that I have come up with for myself is breathe. Honestly, for me, this is going to have so many different meanings, but I do a lot of breath work with my therapist. We do a lot of exercises because I have anxiety, because I have panic disorder, because I have depression. Breath work has been a life-changing experience for me, and it has been one of the tools in my mental health toolbox that has helped me the most. And where my depression is concerned, and where I think now my grief is, some moments feel so overwhelming. The grief wave, I just feel like I'm drowning sometimes. And I felt that way with depression in the past. And one thing my therapist mentioned to me, she's like, you have to just take it day by day. And I think I said, that's so hard sometimes. And she's like, if day by day is too hard, then you take it hour by hour. And if that feels like that's too much, then you take it minute by minute. And if even a minute is too hard, then you just hold on till the next breath. And I was like, wow. And it's, you keep taking breaths, you keep breathing, you keep going. And eventually those breaths get easier when, thinking about working through a panic attack, those first breath, it's so hard and you just don't think you're going to do it, but you keep telling yourself, I can breathe. My breath is here. My breath is my anchor is my breath. And you find ways to ground and connect, and those breaths start to get easier, and you start to realize that you'll be okay. So that aspect of breathing, because it's hard, because that's the only thing you can do sometimes. There's not a lot we can control, but I can breathe. I can take my breath slow. I can pause. I can reflect. I do like that. And additionally, pausing and reflecting, sometimes things in this world will really upset you. I know this has been a hard week, not just for myself and grief, but for a lot of people. Taking a breath and pausing and resting and not maybe letting yourself get triggered in certain ways, and taking that moment to think and reflect, what can I do? It feels sometimes in this world like nothing is in our control. There's nothing we can do. But if you breathe, if you pause and reflect, find gratitude, find something that is within your control, then it feels a little more helpful. You feel like you have your power back in certain ways. Other ways, I think breathe is a really great word, because I do have some goals for this year. I have some things that I want to do that are, maybe a little scary, maybe a little grandiose. But when things get hard, when you're running, when you're doing a really hard activity, when you're in a hard yoga pose, you breathe to get through it, and you find out, I can do hard things. Like, I can do those big things. I can accomplish those big goals. I just have to breathe through it and trust myself and, connect with myself and connect with what I want. So I like that aspect too of the word breathe. And then I think, there's a million different ways, but I think really the other last way that I'm really thinking of breathe is, I've been so sad and I don't want to do anything, but this is my one beautiful, glorious life. This is the life I get to live, and I'm lucky to have that. So, breath is life, and I want to live my life. I want to have a life filled with grief and sorrow. It just means that's how much you've loved, that you have this much to grieve. I hope that in years to come, I have even more to grieve, because that will mean that I have loved well. And, when we talk about breathing life into something, that's creation, that's magic. That's, the magic of the universe. And I want to connect with that for my making, really breathe my passion and my soul and my life into my creations. So going forward with 2025, I hope that theme of breathe, life, slow, connection, all the different things, I hope that you see that in my work and in my videos. I hope maybe you can find a way to connect with that. And I'd love to know, if you do a word of the year, I know a lot of people do, what word you have chosen for this year. I have a lot of friends and their words have been so good. I'm very happy with my word, but I would love, if you're doing a word or a theme of the year, let me know in the comments what your word is. Okay, I think we're just gonna cut it there. Next week, I will do a Show Us Your Knits episode where I will show all the things I've been working on. It may be another tear fest. I'm hoping maybe a little bit less than today's. But thank you so much for sticking around during my time away. And thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like this video. If you are not subscribed, I'd love it. If you want to share it with somebody, that'd be great too. And I will see y'all next week. Bye.